Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch is brought to you by Nedbank.
It's 2 p.m. Central African Time, 1400 hours. Welcome to Nedbank Business Watch. This is your midday lens through the business, the economy, and everything that's in between. It's a brand new Wednesday and certainly brand new face on the show today. I hope that you are enjoying your day so far and that you will stay with us until we end the show because we have a lot in store for you. Very good afternoon to you and welcome.
Good afternoon, Sister. How are you?
Doing all right.
I'm doing all right so far. Surviving.
I'm sure the viewers are happy to see you here. They see you at 7 p.m. every day.
I hope so.
Indeed. Here's our agenda this afternoon. We have the Eswatini Stock Exchange that has released its month-end report for June 2025. And what the numbers reveal is far more than just a simple nod to what we have seen in the first quarter. We're going to have a very important conversation with our economist, Sanela Sbia, as we drill into the implications of what these developments that we have seen, at least in the first quarter, really mean for our economy, what they also mean for your pocket, as well as the business environment at large.
A very good afternoon to our audience. Again, later on the program today, we are bringing you the latest insights and strategies to power your enterprise and personal ambitions. Now, have you ever dreamed of cruising in your dream car but hit a speed bump when it comes to payment plans? Buckle up, because later on the program, we're unpacking Nedbank Eswatini's flexible financing solutions to get you behind the wheel without breaking the bank. But first, our business news for today.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. This is Nedbank Business Watch. As promised, our business news.
On our first story, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade is continuing the process of revisiting the Special Economic Zones Act of 2018. Now, this follows concerns that have been raised over its implementation and effectiveness. Now, since the act came into effect, only 6 licenses were issued, and of these, only 2 remain active. Now, this has prompted the ministry, together with its stakeholders and members of parliament, to review the legislation with the aim of strengthening its impact.
Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Honorable Manqoba Khumalo, has pointed out a major challenge in the current Special Economic Zones framework, the requirement for investors to export 80% of their products outside the SACU region. He says this condition has proven difficult for many investors to meet. The minister also highlighted concerns over the lengthy and complex processes involved in establishing operations under the Special Economic Zones. He emphasized that a one-stop-shop approach is crucial to streamline investor support and boost participation.
Kwecala lo mthetho wanyalo uthi uma utawusebenza ku special economic zone kufanele ukuthi 80% of what you produce uphume ukuthengisele outside the SACU market. Lokho ukuthi uma ngabe utawuthengisa less than 80% of what you produce ukuthengisele le SACU market awuqualify kungena ku special economic zone. Now lokho ke kusibangela inkinga abahlonishwa. Why? Tinkampani letiningi letitala kangwane imarket lenkulu lesuke titargetile ikuphi isesikhwahlande ikasakho ngoba singema members esakho ukhanza ukuthi ke lokuthola lo muntu lothi mina 80% nje lendakwakha kutawuphuma kasakho kuyengcenye ucishe kube impossible masukucabangisisa kahle. Kwesibili lokuyinkinga ukuthi nale process yekuthola le special economic zone license ilikhunyana currently ngoba kunelikomiti lela bekwa ngilomthetho lokhona leta ukuthi ke leli committee lithole ama representatives lapha nalapha bo ERS bo Central Bank bo Finance bo Commerce bo RSTP bo Economic Planning etc kepha ke chairman aze Commerce laba lesithi ngema developers la letindzawo letinema special economic zones lokufaka ekhasinyalo letimbili yekucala ngisesikhuphe that has been designated a special economic zone yesibili iRSTP laba sebenta khona beva ungathi le ndlela lesenda ngayo lama decisions is too centralized ukhanze ukuthi umuntu uqala lekubo asasacedzile ukukhuluma nabo sekufuneka phindze ayeleka Commerce ayobona leli bandla so kufuneka sikwende kube lula ukuthi lo muntu kube sort of a one-stop shop mentality.
Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee for the Ministry in the House of Assembly, Masipula Mamba, says the amendment comes at an opportune time as the country intensifies efforts to attract investment. He noted that expecting an investor to export only 20% outside the SACU market was unrealistic and needed to be addressed in order to enhance the competitiveness of the special economic zones. He commends the move by the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade to amend the Act.
We're looking forward to kulomthetho ukuthi uma siubuyeketa especially le part leta kwenda ukuthi si-connect trader within the SACU region. Ngiyo le yende ukuthi sadikhanza side kahle ma investors most investors lafuna ku establish even would like ukuthi asebende now a trade with South Africa leku major player kithi njenge economy yaseSwatini so uma ubuye ketekile lo mthetho lona sidaw benefit kakhulu as a country because sesidakhona ukuthola lama giant investors. This country is looking for a giant investor either lengangena ku economic zone lapha esikhuphe noma lapha RSTP kuqasheke eMaswati.
The review process includes consultations with key stakeholders to identify areas that require amendment. The objective is to create a more enabling environment for special economic zones to thrive and to attract sustainable participation. The ministry affirmed commitment to making the necessary adjustments to ensure the Act delivers on its intended goal of economic growth and industrial development. For Nedbank Business Watch, Nelson Langamandla, Fuminkosi Nzinisa and Derek Msibi, Ezulwini.
Over 20 women are set to benefit from a new 1.9 million Malangeni garment factory in Lobamba, Lomtsala, officially launched by the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Honorable Manqoba Khumalo. Speaking during the launch, the Minister announced that a national framework will be developed to support the establishment of more factory cottages across the country aimed at boosting employment, skills development and rural industrialization.
Speaking during the launch, the Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Honorable Manqoba Khumalo, announced that within 24 months, a national framework will be developed to support the construction of cottage factories across various Dinkhundla. He said this will be made possible through strategic partnerships with organizations such as Vukani Bomage and the business community. The Honorable Minister further assured that stakeholder engagements will be prioritized to secure markets.
A challenge we would see how do we formulate policies that will integrate the vision that Turkey has, supported by business Eswatini, with the government programs, to make sure that this thing that we see here done by government through micro projects is replicated in all 59 Dinkhundla of the country. And it is my commitment, Turkey, that working with Umhlonishwa, we will in the next 24 months come up with such a policy as
Lobamba Lomzala, Member of Parliament Maui Khumalo, revealed that the structure cost about 1.9 million emalangeni and was supported by micro projects. He noted that more than 20 women will initially operate from the facility with plans to expand capacity as the demand grows.
We have had to approach micro projects in the community by about tenderisha wafika ke 1.9 million. So lange cards njengoba bona kunama structures nendlela nemakamelo lahlukahlukene but lokukhulu kakhulu lapho khona khaya lemshini yokuthunga nalok display. Now labo make labasitwa ngile factory, we call it a factory akalobamba lomdzala ekuthunga bangetulu kwa 20 kwanyalo. But ke nyalo kune challenge because sebaningi labafuna kuta batawungena la ngoba kwanyalo kakhulu bongilaba bakalobamba lomdzala because bokungibo laba banenhlupheko lenengi ngalesikhathi besitama kuyicatulula sagcina sathi no sale siyekela lento yokuthi siyofuna lapho kurentwa khona kucatshana babuye enkundleni sacishe nathi sizabanika lenkundla but manini kancane asesitame lokho nakunamambala kwendeka so ke le interest seyinkulu and I think itawuba incane lenzawo.
Business Eswatini's President Vuzelelo Fagutse also committed to supporting the factory. He said Business Eswatini will engage relevant stakeholders to facilitate market access and business opportunities. Talking how the president of Business Women Eswatini encouraged the women to remain committed to their dreams. She stressed that hard work and perseverance are essential for business growth and success, adding that initiatives like this create pathways for women to thrive economically. The factory also received financial support from CONCO, which contributed over 100,000 malangeni. Part of the funds were used to purchase sewing machines, equipping the women to start operations immediately. For Nedbank Business Watch, Nelson Dlangamandla, Derek Msibi and Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
And that's all for our business news. Stay tuned because more is yet to come.
Yeah, we have Sandals B on standby virtually as we look at the second quarter review released by the Eswatini Stock Exchange. It demands a lot of interpretation after the break.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Hi, I'm Golda. I work here at the IMF. Our aim is to provide the best possible advice on economic policy to our member countries, helping them to create conditions so everyone prospers from economic growth. One question our economists are always getting: how can we reduce poverty and foster inclusive growth? There are a few ways to think about it. Some say the government should be heavily involved in the economy, with regulations to keep people safe and high taxes that fund and support a healthy, well-educated and inclusive society. even if it's at the expense of higher growth. Others believe that the government should have little or no part to play in the economy. Lower taxation means more money in everyone's pockets. More individual freedom, they say, means more economic growth overall. But maybe there's a target we all could be shooting for: the best policies on inclusion and growth. Essentially, inclusive growth is about making the economic pie bigger and sharing those slices more widely. So, how do we get there? By aiming for a middle ground. Both sides mostly recognize the need for social safety nets, public pensions, unemployment insurance, food programs. These measures prevent extreme poverty and provide a basic standard of living. At the IMF, inclusive growth is central to our work because reducing poverty is in everyone's interest. Part of having a free and equitable society is ensuring we all benefit from its growth, no matter who we are. And it's not just about creating a fair and equal chance to succeed for individuals, regions, or countries. It's about distributing growth fairly for future generations too. Overall, inclusive growth is based on the idea that wealth creation, economic freedom, and equal opportunity can and should coexist.
All right, we promised you a conversation with our economist, Sanela Sibia, on the Eswatini Stock Exchange, which has released its Q2 review. The data that it shows carries a duality that demands our interpretation this afternoon. On the one hand, there is a 12.663% surge in equity turnover, dividend declarations from major listed firms, Nedbank and other firms, and a bond market that is expanding rapidly. But then there's the other side, a 2.68% drop in market capitalization, no new listings, and a decline in the all-share index. What is interesting here is that all of which raise a deeper question about investor confidence, the equity participation, as well as the structural inertia, so to speak. Now, Sanela Sibia is with us virtually and is going to help us understand the implications of this report. Sanela, good afternoon. Thank you so much for making time to be with us this afternoon. I suppose the first question is on the capitalization of the quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year that dropped. We are seeing steep declines in key stocks like Greystone and Inala. What does that contraction suggest to you?
Thank you, Mr. Ngumalo, and a good afternoon to the viewer. So what we are seeing happening here, Mr. Ngumalo, is it's a signal that we are seeing those share prices, mostly, the Inala Capital, your Greystone Capital, your Greystone and Partners, and the Swazi Empowerment Limited. They are actually showing signs that their share price actually declined when you compare it with June of 2024. We can see that Swazi Empowerment Limited, the share price dropped from 39 emalangeni to 37. For Greystone, it dropped from 3 emalangeni 40 cents to 2 emalangeni 60 cents, and for Inala Capital, it dropped from 1 emalangeni 50 cents to 1 emalangeni 20 cents. So what this basically shows to us, Mr. Ngumalo, and what it signals is, given the tumultuous times that we have seen on the global trade markets, it's quite expected to see those that are those capital venture companies are performing this way, because there's a lot of uncertainty. We're coming from a very, remembering when we came from that interest rate normalization drive, where the interest rates were increasing throughout the globe, and that somehow limited investment potentials and the potential to grow such portfolios, because they are largely dependent on, market performance and all of those. So that is quite a signal to that those that were actually investing at that time somehow lost a bit of favor with investors, given the volatility that we're seeing in trade in international markets. And if you recall, just a few days back when Trump took over, and then we saw that Make America Great Again through that Independence or Liberation Day tariff story that also sent ripples to markets. So you would expect that such in venture capitalists would actually feel the hit coming through from that and the uncertainty with the investors not wanting to put their money there because there's a bit of uncertainty in that market.
It's quite interesting because on the contrast, in fact, a very sharp one, we are seeing a staggering sort of increase here in equity turnover, 12,663%. I mean, on the surface, it reads like a vote of confidence, but perhaps your view is different. Does it really represent genuine interest when we speak of investors, or are we looking at a handful of large strategic trades here that are skewing the numbers?
I would say it's an issue of large strategic numbers. Remember, we've said this on the show before, you and I, Mr. Ngumalo, that Nkonyeni precast is actually going to be the one to watch out for this year. And considering that they are a relatively new listing, and if you look at the way our government expenditures has been structured this year, with that 7 billion going into your capital expenditure, and you do expect that a new kid on the block who is actually focusing on building those cement related type of commodities, which are quite critical for the path that the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini seems to want to take. So that's why we're seeing those are happening. And we also do know that we have the likes of the new banks that are coming in, and we know that those ones are actually going to also be on an uptick. And we've also seen Swazi Property Limited again following trout of that trajectory that the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini was actually proposing, because when we read the budget and we read the policy statements, they did show that the government is actually going to invest along those lines. So what we're seeing there is those trades happening, and mostly they happened amongst these three companies that we're talking about, Mr. Ngumalo, these new kids on the blocks, and most likely Nkonyeni precast. But we do know that we should have seen a bit of movement as well through Swaprop and also through SBC Limited. But if you look at the configuration of such companies,
Well, it seems as though we're losing our economist there, Sanalus Via, but is chiming in on the Eswatini Stock Exchange market capitalization that is experiencing a decline in the last quarter. He's very diplomatic, and we appreciate the fact that he's not negligent there as he makes his assertions, particularly on the one where he mentioned that there are new players on the block, and surely you do know what this show is called, and so we really appreciate how careful he was there. But also, the equities board is remaining thin, and I'm sure, as he was speaking, you could follow that he was about to speak on the very concerning reality that we are not seeing any new players in the new listings. In fact, it has remained really thin with only 9 domestic companies, no foreign listings at all, and no new entrants in the second quarter. And of course, we are seeing that there continues to be a struggle that is inherent there with the listings growth. We perhaps know that the levers have to be pulled. Is it policy? Is it promotion? Is it regulation? We would have really enjoyed to hear how he chimes into that, but you could really tell that that's the direction that it was starting to take. It's 23 minutes after 2. Let's try to connect with him again. Let's go for a net break.
Welcome back. In today's chat with Nedbank, we shift gears to exploring flexible financing solutions for cars. Now we know everyone loves mobility and convenience, so owning your dream vehicle should not be a roadblock to your finances. Whether you're an individual looking for affordable payment plans or a business in need of fleet financing, Nedbank Eswatini offers tailored options to match your budget and lifestyle. From low interest rates to customizable repayment terms, we'll break it down today on how to drive away with the perfect deal. We're joined by Busi Dlamini, asset-based finance specialist at Nedbank. A very good afternoon to you, Ngozi. How's your day going?
Good afternoon, Notile. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. So happy to be back in the studio.
Right. Now, the bank has introduced flexible financing. Now, for my vehicles, let's break it down. What is this? What does it mean for me?
Flexible finance solution. What we have come to do at Nedbank is that we have realized that our customers are feeling the pinch in the economy, where we have seen a rise in interest rates and rise in basically everything. So we want to say to our customers, they can come to us. We can tailor-make flexible finance solutions for them that will just meet their needs and help them to finance their vehicles.
Right. What is this financing solution offering exactly in terms of the benefits, in terms of, is it new vehicles, old vehicles? What's there to offer? What's on the offer?
The Nedbank Flexible Finance Solutions, we are saying we have extended our finance period to 84 months. Previously, we were only financing up to 60 months, and now we have extended to 84 months, which is 7 years for brand new vehicles. And we also extend our finance to pre-owned vehicles or used vehicles, where we finance up to 72 months with an option of a deposit of 5% for the pre-owned vehicles.
I hear you covering both brand new and pre-owned
vehicles, yes.
Any specific brands or dealerships that you're considering?
Okay, before I get to that, I want to add that on the flexible finance solutions, we also offer up to 25% balloon payment or balloon option. Basically, what that means is that the customer may not qualify for the vehicle if there is no deposit or if there is no balloon. So we are saying basically that a customer can own their vehicle with the balloon option, which means in simple terms, I would put it like it's a deposit which you don't have at the moment, and you can put that at any time of the finance or even in the end. So that is helping us to come and say we're assisting our customers with this option. So now we have seen an increase in the sales of Chinese vehicles. Basically, if you look in Eswatini or even across the borders, we see many of these vehicles. There's the Jayco, Omoda, and Cherry, which basically are new vehicles and very luxurious. So our customers, we say, come to us, we can finance you these vehicles, and you'll be driving a brand new car at any moment.
That's great. Everyone loves affordable luxury. You said they need to approach you just to identify if they can qualify. What does it take for me to qualify? And exactly what determines the deposit for any vehicle that I choose to own?
For you to qualify, basically, we'll be looking at your income. If it's a person wanting to buy a family car or your own car, we look at your income. That would be your salary. And if it's a business, we will look at the finances of that particular business to see how much can you afford to pay for.
All right. So the same goes for your deposit?
On the deposit, we have said you can finance without paying a deposit. You can even take that 25% or our option, our balloon payment. Balloon option starts at 5% and goes up to 25%. So that's where you will see you can even take the 5% if you can afford that option, or you can take up to 25%. This is only made for you to see. You can be able to finance this installment because you want to look at the installment. If I say the installment is 16,000 emalangeni and you feel like, okay, this is too much, I will not be able to finance or afford that installment in a month. So that's where you will say, can I take the option of 20%, 25%, and that definitely will make you be able to finance that vehicle.
Now, I may qualify, but I'm not really a client with Nedbank. Am I still getting this kind of assistance?
Oh, yes, of course. This finance solution is open to our customers who are primarily bank with us and also non-net bank clients. We still offer the same option to everybody.
What's the application process? How do I go, starting off perhaps as a client? Suppose I am a net bank client. How do I go about receiving this financial assistance?
Okay, the first thing is that you will go to that dealership of choice. You get a quotation for the vehicle that you will want to finance. You come to us, we say, okay, these are the documents that you want, that we will need for you to be able to do the application. Once you get us those documents, maybe I can list them. We will need a quotation. We will need, if it's a person who is employed, we will need a confirmation letter from the employer, and we need a pay slip. 3 months bank statements for non-primary bank clients, and we don't need a statement for our clients because we already have that. And on top of that, we will also need an ID and a driver's license.
That's the application process. How long would it take exactly?
Our application process takes up to 24 hours. So within a day, you'll be driving. You will get an approval. We send to the dealership. And if the car is there,
within a day?
Within a day, yes.
Sounds too good to be true.
Oh, yes, it is. Believe me.
Why is it so fast-tracked?
We've come to say this is what we can do for our customers. When we say flexible finance, we are saying now we have to move with the times. If the customer says, I want a vehicle, they've already made up their mind. So ours is to say, come and bring us what we can look at, and then within a day you will get that approval. We give it to the dealership. Okay. And if the vehicle is in the flow, maybe in 2 days you'll be driving that car.
And exactly what kind of people or individuals actually really do get access to this financing solution made easier?
Oh, anyone who feels like I can be able to afford an installment of so much can come to us. We can finance them. We don't look at who and because we don't say why, but we look at what do you have, how much do you earn, can you afford? If you afford, then you can drive away with your vehicle.
So if it's not a standard white-collar job that I know probably pays me a fixed amount per month, or it's a stable business, am I not a risk in that regard?
Well, risk will always be there because we can finance based on your employment. We get a contract. It's a contract of a limited time or it's a permanent contract. So we finance based on that. We basically base on the salary that you received monthly. And on a business, we basically look at the business financial statements, we look at their cash flow, we look at how they are doing. So we finance. So basically there is a risk there, but we are saying as a bank, we are here to help our customers and not look at what would be the risk, but we look at what can we do for you now.
Okay.
And also to add on that, we also offer comprehensive insurance options to our customers. So because when we finance a vehicle, it must have cover on an insurance with an insurance companies locally.
Insurance for your customers, specifically net bank customers, or for recipients of this kind of financing?
For recipients of the financing, yes.
Even if I'm not a client?
Even if you're not a client. As long as you are buying or financing a vehicle through us, that vehicle has to be covered by comprehensive insurance cover.
All right, Ms. Dlamini, before we end the conversation, how do we reach out to NetBank? Are you on social media? Who do we contact?
On social media, we have NetBank Eswatini on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on X. That is NetBank Eswatini. Telephonically, you can reach us at 3278-1429 or 7602-5621.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Busi Dlamini from NetBank. We'll take a break. NetBank Business Watch continues after this. Welcome back. In our Enterprise Watch segment, Albert Chibi, Director of the Investor Roadmap Department, sheds light on key proposed changes in the Special Economic Zone Amendment Bill. He explains how these changes are designed to attract more investors to the country and accelerate economic growth. Let's take a listen as he unpacks what could be a turning point for investment in the country in the Special Economic Zones.
Ukhulumile minister ngendzaba yekuthi singakhona ukuthengisa sakho lokho kwasidonsela lulakalwa na inhlangano lebitwa ngekuthi iOECD shothi lena inhlangano yemavela alabathuthukile eEurope ifaka inenhlangano ke lebitwa ngekuthi Forum for Harmful Tax Practices. Lo Forum for Harmful Tax Practices uyibuka yonke ke lemithetho ekutheneni nali la Eswatini sele establish umthetho wema special economic zones kanti kithi lo mthetho uqhamuka eze a game changer bahlonishwa ekutheneni uhulumende sowubukile lokho ukuthi ema investment inflows leta eveni ayehla kakhulu over the years ezehla kune competition lekhona kwekuthi mhlawumbe emavela achubekako ku attracta iFDI ngemavela la nema resources la endawo dingi kuma resources phinze kube ngemave mhlawumbe strategically la se establish le infrastructure le special economic zones naletinye tindlela te industrialization to the extent la ubona khona ukuthi lelive leli mhlawumbe seline port line harbor linenzawo le designated as a special economic zone bese kuba na logistics center lo iserviceako leyo ndzawo ekutheneni kube lula lokuthi I product le producewa la ku special economic zone isheshe iwathole emaphepha ayo export ema permits everything iphinze ikhona ekugibela endizeni nobe ingene emkhunjini isheshe iyofika emarket la yakhona la Eswatini ke njengoba sathi landlocked so tsine si establisha lo mthetho wema special economic zone sinako in mind lokuthi I challenge yethu noba insaye lesibhekene nayo imatima kumele ukuthi siwabhithe lawa lamanye emave kuze nathi sikhone loku attracta iinvestment ngulapho ke la sa uhulumende wase sawubuka khona ke ukuthi mhlawumbe singabuka la ku corporate tax ekutheneni bosomabhizinisi laba qualifyako bangawubhadala umthelo lokuthiwa icorporate tax for 20 years batokhona kuhlala la eveni ngoba phela kithi kuphinze kube khona lokuthi lo mhlaba lebatawakha kuwo lona nje lo se biotech lo sephoqweni nalo lo sesikhuphe ngomhlaba lebatawu lisa lebatawuboleka bawurente on a basis ya 49 years but sibheke ukuthi bakhe ama structures abo lapho lokho kufike kwa nawo sewukubuka sewusicathanisa nala nabomakhelwane kuyasilimata ngoba bomakhelwane leti ngaphane batakhela leti ngena kuma SZ bomakhelwane sebanetikolwa teku trainer ema skills lawa ladzingwa ngilama industries la kuma SZ bomakhelwane sebane one stop le service nje specifically and exclusively lama SZ so nasa ukubuka ke konke lokho kwakhanza ukuthi thine siphuma ngaphasi asifiki la kuleli zinga labo lesebale establishile and hence nakusakhulunyiswana nabo potential investor labanye bakhona bagcina baluze interest so lenhlangano ke yaka EU le Forum for Harmful Tax Practices yase seyakuhlaba ke kuba kuthathu ekutheneni indzaba ye ring fencing la khona kuvela khona lokho ukuthi sithi thine now kuma special economic zones eSwatini you can only sell 20% ku domestic market wethu lokungisakho 80% export bathi ke lokho kufuna ukuthi sikubuyekete lokho sikususe indzaba yesibili baveta i-possibility ukuthi ngalo ukuthi sithi zero tax for 20 years kusene kwendeka la ukuthi kube netinkampane letitawusuka le ku mainstream letikhona njengalo engwenya kumathapha enhlangano tigcume tonke tithi tifuna kungena kuma special economic zone lokungaba i-danger ke ukuthi seku-eroda sekususa ke yonke le tax base lesinayo eveni ngoba phela kuyakoleka umthelo i-corporate tax lengenako kuma-revenues a-government bese i-problem lenye lebayi-highlightile kungabi khona kwe-transparency ekutheneni akwatiwa kahle ukuthi na ufuna kungena kulolu hlelo lolu wenda njani nema-guidelines akhona ngoba side ma-regulations kutawumele ukuthi sibe nema-regulations kwesine-ke lebakuhlaba indzaba lena lakhulume ngayo minister yekwekuthi nangabe siyakufaka lo lokuthiwa i-intellectual property la kuma special economic zones bona baneluhlelo lokuthiwa i-nexus approach la ufaka khona le intellectual property ngekwekuthi udefine lokuthi le IP idevelopela khaya nobe uchamuke nayo lo ekunene itawubenefita njani in terms of ema incomes umonitor njani wena lo administer lama special economic zones ngimaphi ama reports lotawa producer from time to time labangafika khona babone lokuthi le IP uyimanage njani because babalekela la ekutheneni kunetinkampani lo khanza kuthi tinkulu tisuka le kubo Europe tisuka kuphi le IP ayikadevelopwa la kithi but batawutabende ngathi bakhi headquarters la kuze ba-exploit le IP bayisebenzise la ngaloko ukuthi thina sithi umthelo kithi ungzero we-corporate tax bese ba-producer ke ukhanzeke ukuthi ke nalendzaba yabo money laundering seyafihleka lapho ngoba phela lo muntu losafike la so sebenzisa le IP ngazi ukuthi le IP uyigeneratela khaya i-IP ke ngalamafisha kuba nguloko lwati lotakhele lona wena umuntu luye lubhaliswe ke kunehlangothi nje lwase-commerce la lubhaliswa khona lolwati ukuthi uluprotecte ukuthi loku ngimi loku inventile ngimi loku innovatile loku ngakuproducer so whoever lodzinga kukusebenzisa uyawukurenta kimi kube clear lokho ukuthi ukurenta kanjani nobe ngiyamthengisela lolo lwati so kube nguleto ke tindzaba leti banga ukuthi mhlawumbe ema challenges leswafacako as umthetho usa roll out kusukela nga 2018 lesikuvetako kwela kule slide ukuthi kuze silwe nalendzaba ye tax base erosion sibe sesidevelopa ke naku lesikubita ngekuthi i-objective criteria kule amendment bill nje schedule number 4 bahlonishwa lo attached lapho sizama kuveta kwekuthi sibe sesiyakubuka ke konke lokho kwekuthi sahlala phansi sabuka onke ama industries ukuthi ama industries lesinawo ekhaya ngimaphi yini lokuta uqualifya ngiyiphi industry lenga qualify ukuthi ingene kuma special economic zones kwatise phela ukuthi laba baka EU bebakuhlabile naloko ukuthi umthetho wethu una ureferisha kakhulu ku discretion ya minister so bafuna ukuthi sikususe lo loku discretionary kube ne objective criteria ukuthi uqualify njani kuze ukhone kungena ku special economic zone so lapho ke sibuke tonke lama industries la khona eSwatini kwekuthi sinaboshukela sinalabagaya impuphu sinalaba producer ini ngubani lo ngangena ku special economic zone a simple answer ithi lo ngangena ku special economic zone ngaphane lensha leta uproducer mhlawumbe lokungekho nyalo eSwatini lokuproduce eSwatini nobe kube inkampani lokhanza kwekuthi seyi refiner further lokhu lesikuproducer ngibekise nje ishukela shukela lesim exporter kufika emaveni aka EU bam refine into other products. So leyo refinement of the existing product kungaba ngiko ke lele singaku lokungaqualifya ekutheneni kungene kuma special economic zones nekwekuthi ke bahlonishwa nangala ka mining kwatise ukuthi mining sinayo eveni sinawo ema minerals la nga beneficiator ku beneficiator kuba ngilok processor le mineral ungayi export as a raw material uyi export say intermediate product nobe say finalized product kube ngiloko nje in short lele siku addressa ko lapha and then lokulandzelako kuleli tafula next slide lokulandzelako kuleli tafula shothi senguloluhla ke lwekuthi yini lele shintshako kulomthetho lochitshelwe lapho ke la ngitawusuggesta khona ngemvuma yakho honorable minister na chair kwekuthi silungise litafula lelidze leli lesitalikhulumisa ke line by line kwekuthi yini lele shintshako but sokushido minister lokunye kwakhona lokushintshako kwekuthi le restriction yekuthi thengisa 20% kuphela la Eswatini siyakucitha lokho sesikususile la ku amendment tingaphane titawukhona leti kuma special economic zone ukuthi titsengise ku domestic market however ema duties nema exemptions labo tawa enjoya ngekuthi uexport iproduct yakho sekungeke usakhona ngaloko ukuthi sikasakho phela kasakho ngilasiphindze sithole khona ne revenue nangabe uthengisa kasakho nakungena le product yakho ayichargewa ihlalele ku warehouse yakho lo ta establisha but nase kubukwa ke retrospectively ukuthi so produceile sekuhambile lo produceile kuye kuyiphi market ngilapho ke la itabe si apply khona lo mthelo kwekuthi sesiyawukoleka ke lo mthelo lo kumele siukoleke ngoba iproduct yakho wena uyithengiseka sakho nekwekuthi ke kule luhla ameni kule ndlela yoku apply le license onke ama license according to umthetho wa 2018 ahamba through njengoba kuchazile minister kusukele kulaba laba manage ema parks kude kule committee lema special economic zones bese kungena ecabinet kuqhutshwa induna yaka commerce icabinet kube ngiyo le keep decision nyalo ke sekuyahlukaniseka kule amendment ekutheneni ingaphane le based la kwa designate wakhona ayisadzingi ukuthi I license ya I application ya license yayo iye ecabinet itawubukwa nguleli committee lekuqala leli one stop shop liholwa ngeAPA bese sekuphelela la ku special economic zones committee sebakhipha ilicense icabinet itakwatiseka from time to time ukuthi mangakhe ama license lasaphumile la kutawudzinga khona ukuthi ku approve icabinet indzawo ngiyabekisa lesengekho lengasi designated akhona ke ama projects la njalo njengaloku nje live li develop infrastructure yekubamba emanti kunemadamu la establishwako downstream leyo development le downstream utawukhanza ukuthi kunetinkampani letilima kotini.
And that's the end of our Enterprise Watch. Moving on with our program today, we're going to head over now to our market analysis segment. This is Business Watch brought to you by Nedbank Eswatini. In the studio, we have Nedbank's Treasury Dealer Nozibusiso Dembo. We're just going to break down the markets. A very good afternoon to you, rather. The dollar continues. I know this is not your starting point, but let's start here before we can localize it to local markets. The dollar continues to prove strength against weaker currencies. We've got sanctions galore. We've got developments in Trump saying he struck a deal with Japan. Initially, he had threatened 25%, but now has brought the agreement down to 15%. Exactly, where does the rand or the lilangeni fit in any of this? Are we going to be impacted by automation developments in the coming future?
Thank you so much. So this is a volatile time in markets. I think the markets are very anxious right now. This whole week we've seen the ZAR gain strength though, primarily as the market was anticipating inflation figures that came out today. Economists were expecting an inflation figure of 3%, which is exactly where it came out today. We also are awaiting the outcomes of the vote in Parliament for the appropriation bill, which is currently going on. There were tensions between the ANC and the DA relating to that, but those have seemingly subsided now, which is great. Last week, the DA was threatening to vote against all budgets for departments that are headed up by ANC members who are accused of wrongdoings or misconduct, centered around Nobuhle Nkabane, who was the former Minister of Higher Education, and she's now been removed from her position by President Cyril Ramaphosa. So we're seeing that that's now caused some harmony and some calmness between the ANC and the DA, and we're expecting the outcomes of that vote to be positive, and the rand is then strengthening because of that. Right. Abroad, as you have mentioned, the US and Japan have also reached trade agreements, as well as the Philippines, actually. Japan, like you said, 15% tariffs on them. They've also agreed to input 550 billion into the US economy, as well as to import rice from the US. The Philippines, on the other hand, received tariffs of 19%. But this is much lower than what Donald Trump initially proposed, so that's good. That's
good news, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, you're a numbers person. Let's get into the figures. What do we have today?
So on the side of the US dollar against the IZL, we have that trading at 17.5411. The GBP against the IZL is trading at 23.7340, and the euro against the IZL is trading at 20.5791. Locally, though, our Minister of Finance has also announced that, has approved the change of the Treasury bills calendar, where all tenures for Treasury bills will now be issued on a weekly basis. So before, they would interchange. So now they're all available on a weekly basis. So I think locally, in our own market, it'll be now interesting to see what effect that'll have on the Treasury bill results and the money market locally in the next few weeks.
Where do we see the lilangeni heading probably by the end of year? What could be driving this trajectory?
So we've got a lot of things all happening at the same time, which is very difficult then to anticipate where it'll end up. A lot of things currently hinge on what happens on the 1st of August regarding the tariff negotiations in the US, because whatever happens there affects everybody else. It affects inflation in every country. It affects inflation in the US. It affects GDP. All of these things linked together. So I think the direction will be clearer on the 1st of August.
All right, fair enough. Now let's go to commodities. How are we looking in that regard?
On the side of commodities, we've got oil, which has been edging higher, primarily due to the focus on the US's trade negotiations with its key trade counterparties. Oil is currently trading at $71.86 per barrel. We've got gold trading at $3,421.24 per ounce, and the price of gold has also been rising. In fact, yesterday it reached a 5-week high due to the trade uncertainty that's currently going on. But we did see it lose a bit of momentum early this morning, primarily due to the announcement of the trade agreement between the US and Japan, as well as the Philippines. So it's sort of lost that safe haven demand that it was thriving off of. But economists are also saying that the increase in the price of gold, coupled with the decrease in the US dollar, or the slump of the US dollar, might also be a result of the BRICS countries increasingly having conversations around changing policies or implementing policies that are against the US dollar, or that are de-dollarizing, essentially. So the expectation from economists is perhaps those two are related. There is a correlation there.
Now, in terms of equities, how are things looking?
On the side of equities, we have our S&P 500 showing relatively positive performance as well, primarily on the back of a strengthening US dollar. We have our FTSE as well showing positive performance. These gains are due to the heavyweight mining sector, again on the price of increasing copper prices in Europe. And we also have the JSE All Share Index showing slight decrease, but very slight. And it's also gaining from a positive rand. So because the rand is strengthening, the JSE All Share Index is also showing
You mentioned de-dollarization earlier. You know, we've got the whole conversation on BRICS. How much of a threat is that to the US dollar?
Sure. I think it really is. It is, and I think that's you see that in the fact that President Donald Trump wanted to impose 10% tariffs on countries that are affiliated with BRICS. So I think they do have a significant influence, and there would be an impact if they were to go in that direction. And you can see that Trump is not really, he's trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the impact is quite immense.
Nozibusisa, thank you very much for your insights. We'll also be keeping an eye on these developments as we progress with our business programs. Now, we'll be seeing you shortly after this.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
All right, just 3 minutes before we hit the home stretch of the 1500 hour this Wednesday afternoon. We hope that you've enjoyed the show and you've enjoyed the presence of our new presenter here on Nedbank Business Watch. She's been great. Notsile, how are you?
I'm good. I think I'm getting the hang of things, yeah.
Yeah, it was an insightful show indeed as well. You know, just learning about what is happening with the economics, what is happening with the markets as well. They're just providing the insights there. What is happening with the Ministry of Education in South Africa has been quite interesting, and we hope to see further developments. And I know that by next week we'll have new updates on that.
Otherwise, from me, it's been lovely. Until the next edition, I really do hope that you have yourself a wonderful Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nedbank.
Ngiyobeleka bekunalomnyesi nje sathola nalesibhedlela singadani ukuthi sibelekele umuntu munye.
Ngisho umntwana ngiyamehlika ngumuzi. Sathi ngathi umlahla.
Mina bengiphila impilo yokuhlala ngigijima ngaso sonke isikhathi ngekuba bede badala. Ngabe umntwana nami ngitolala naye emaphayiphini kuNkulunkulu tosisiza.
Akabuyele emuva kakhulu ngemaqiniso. Asuyanyaza tela. Angithethi into wathi ngimdala akasudlala lo mntwana ngayo.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula. nathi kufuna sele kukhicita loku kusekumbili